Ed from Pinball Mayhem here. Recently you've seen some of the videos on the NEO-GEO arcade that I fixed up. I did one more mod to it, but this time I did it while it was on my location at the brewery, and I took some videos, but it was very hard to get any audio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain the process I did, the mod, and be able to show you guys, pop in the videos, to kind of see the steps that it took. Not going to be step by step. So this is if you're unfamiliar, this is the NEO-GEO Marquee. This is the one that came in my game. It's called a 2-slot, and I have converted mine to a 4-slot. What that is each of these windows have a paper or like a translate, or like a pinball machine marquee that slips in here. It's a mini marquee. And the actual 4-slot games that were officially made by NEO-GEO rather than a conversion like mine, they had a by default lights that would light up. So when you selected the different games, it was not just lit up solid, it was lit up with the individual game. And a gentleman out of England, Lee Smith, with NEO-GEO LED Marquee .info, and I'll put the link down in the description for you guys. He's making a modern, not an EL panel, high voltage. He's making a modern version of that plugs right in, includes the cables. He's also making the credit displays, not the style I use, but the style that go on the control panel, and some reasonable prices and shipping. So the first thing I had done is I went back and forth with him on, hey, will this even fit my conversion cabinet? I talked to him, and he said, hey, just to be sure, why don't I send you the 3D printer file? So he sent it to me of the actual frame that held the LEDs, and you see a picture of it. And first time I'm like, well, if I cut these tabs off the bottom, I can make it work, so why don't we do it? So he suggested, why don't I just cut them off in the 3D model, make your panels for me, and sent me another model, exactly what I wanted. I 3D printed that out, taped it in place. It looked perfect. So this allowed me, while I was waiting for him to get the kits made, because everything is made one-off, making the kits and shipping them over here, I was able to cut the wood and the boards, but I didn't want to wait to bring the game out on location. So that's why the game went from my basement, probably about where I was standing, out to the location at the brewery. So once I finally got everything, you know, shipping and everything, the kit looked really nice. So the first thing I did when I got out there was I unboxed everything, I removed the marquee, and then I went back and took a look at everything I had laid out. I have all the 4 LED panels, I have a control board, and I also had the wooden panel that I pre-made and some blocks that I had to screw in there. Now if you notice when I took the marquee out, that it had, I put LED bulbs in there, but it had what would be 2 incandescent screw-in bulbs in the back of behind the marquee. It would light up this whole thing. But you know, we want to light them up individually. We don't really care about the NEO-GEO on the top of that marquee because it's got a lot going on already. So the next thing I had done is took those bulbs out. I left the wiring there because I didn't want to start cutting anything, and I mounted the board to the inside of the cabinet with the 2 cleats on the side, 4 screws. Made sure to flush mount everything with a drill that I have, a little cutout, and I then started placing one marquee by taping it into place, sized it up by putting the marquee up and in there, and once I was happy with it. They're actually made so that they're going to sit butt right up next to each other. So once I got one lined up, I was able to keep putting them down the line and get all 4 screwed on. After I got them all screwed on, and of course test fitting, making sure everything lines up pretty good with the mini marquee windows, I took the board on the bench, and then I flipped it over and attached the control board on the back side, ran the wires through some wire nuts, through a zip tie and a zip tie pad. I could have cut it and made them shorter, but being out there on site, people were around, it makes it a little easier just to kind of twist tie it up, and it's going to be nice and tidy inside the game. It's not hanging all over the place. One thing that kind of confused me was the version 1 of his board actually had a separate power cable. And I thought, that's just crazy. Or I mean, I was looking for the power cable, I was ready to email him, then I read a message and the instructions that came with it, there is no power cable because it gets the power from the board, from the original harness. So just make sure that the wires are plugged in the right order. I don't think the harness lets you plug them in wrong, but I had the multicolored cable, which I then had to get there with a flashlight and a mirror and get it plugged into the 4-slot board. And the 2-slot board does have a location for that as well. And I don't think the 1 slot does, but the 1 or the 2, 4, and the 6, and his kits can support up to the 6 displays. Then I got everything in the cabinet and mounted. And when you first power it on, it does a cycle. It tests through everything. I didn't have it fully screwed down in case I need to change the brightness of the panel. But having one less cable to harness and power to mess with actually was really nice. I really thought that was it's a well put together kit. After I had it all cycling, so when you power on while it's booting the board, before it's booted, his board will cycle through every display, which is kind of nice. You can test to make sure you got them in the right order. I then put the marquee in, powered it up, and I tested with the select switch, and the proper one lit up according to the game that was supposed to be on the screen. So I went through everything, and overall, really happy with the kit. I've gotten many compliments. A lot of people said, I didn't know it was supposed to change color. Most of the games I've seen, by the time of the late 90s, the color changing and the marquees were burnt out. So that's just, it's a neat little kit. It's a neat add-on. I would do it for home. Definitely do it for operation. It's LED, low power, so you're not going to be cooking your display or your mini marquees, but it has that nice little touch. So definitely check out his website, check out some of the other products if you have a NEO-GEO. Even if you have part of it but you need the cables, he does sell the cables for the credit displays and for the LED marquees. That's just a really nice, that I didn't have the cable for it, so he was able to supply it. But if you have the cable when you order it, you can say, I got a cable, that's all right, don't ship me one, and save a couple bucks. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed my commentary on my other videos I made. Found it a little bit informative. Make sure to check us out on Facebook. We also are doing streaming on YouTube and on Twitch. So follow us on Facebook, find out what's happening, and check out what's new. Thank you.